Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Aftershow podcast, where today we sat down with 12 Spies to discuss their experience on the a dive deep into their writing process, and how faith incorporates into their music. Enjoy.
We are live at Station 8 once again with 12 Spies. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Hey, we're good.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me, how long has it been? Like a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks now since we've worked together?
Somewhere around
something
there.
like that. Yeah.
How's it been? How's it felt? Do you feel confident in the performance? You haven't seen it yet. For anyone listening, they have not seen anything yet.
Well, we were encouraged because you were saying that it sounded really good. And so I know me, all of us, I would say, we're all kind of hypercritical of our performances, and we like to focus on the negative. I know me, and I'm trying to get past that right now in other areas of my life. But yeah, I mean, I was just recalling, I was like, man, I missed that, I missed this, and all kinds of stuff. But it was encouraging when you said, oh, it sounded good. So yeah.
It sounds amazing. And the people listening to this right now have actually heard the performance, so they already know how amazing it sounds. So it's kind of funny.
Sweet.
But
man.
but yeah, why do you think that is, man? Why do you think it's concentrating on the negative, like from an artistic standpoint?
I don't know. I just so from a musical side, I guess, because like I grew up and I played like piano and French horn off of sheet music and stuff. So it was all about like, probably because it was about like performing properly and making sure that you're doing like what is on the page. And so like when we've written stuff, it's like, okay, this is what we've decided we're going to play. And if I miss that, I'm like, oh, I missed the mark. Like I didn't do it the way that we had already written it. And so, but I guess there is a little bit more fluidity when we're talking about playing and it's our own stuff. And it's kind of like, maybe you can say it's more like in the moment, like, whatever that is, I don't even know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of value.
That's probably a better way to look at it, rather than say, oh, I missed this note or this rhythm was off. It's like the human element in there that everybody likes. And that's why I love going to live shows, is because you get to see that come out, and it's not necessarily the way the album is. So
yeah, it's raw. It's what the music is meant to be
Yeah.
in the moment. I mean, I think that's kind of what made Memphis music, at its roots, but also that you guys are kind of taking it in a different direction with the music that you're playing. But you can't ignore that human and like that, just that in the moment organic element of what the music is while it's being played. That's the nature of a live performance. It's a good thing. But you know what we should do? We should actually introduce you guys. So why don't we just like 1, 2, 3, so people actually know who we're talking to. They might already, because you're getting there, right? But let's do an intro. What your name? What you play?
you want to start on that end?
No, on that end.
Oh no, okay. Put me on the spot.
On the
Okay,
spot.
man. Okay, well, my name's David, and David Jacobs. I play bass in this group, and I also sing backup vocals, which is kind of new for me as far as music goes, because the bands I've been in, I've been playing bass, for the past 5 years. It's been more or less an intermittent thing. Like if I'm in a group or whatever, I'll practice and be writing, but then if we fall out or we're on hiatus for periods of time, I kind of fall out of playing. So it hasn't been the most consistent thing in the world. But as far as singing goes, that's been recent for this group. I think that's a new element, because the groups I've been in the past, I don't sing. There's no mic in front of me. So yeah.
Well, I love the harmonies, man.
I appreciate it. I
love
appreciate
that.
it.
Are you a Memphis native?
I am, yeah.
Nice.
So I guess like the musical element comes from the stuff I was talking about earlier, like the fact that I played in like orchestra, band growing up, started on keys when I was really young. And so I think that gave me a really good foundation. And then I've just tried to, apply that. And it's funny because I didn't even really get into any of this heavy music until I was done with college. Like Joel will tell you, like he would show me Chevelle, like, because Joel and I go pretty far back. Like he showed me Chevelle, I think, back in high school. And I was like, I don't really like this, but I liked a band called Alter Bridge that he showed me. That was probably one of the few bands I really liked. And it wasn't until I got out of school that I really started like listening to Chevelle, and I was like, oh, I kind of get it. And then I went a little bit heavier from there, and then ended up liking, stuff that I do now, like Periphery or,
Shout out Bulb.
heavy. Yeah, Bulb. Yeah, Misha's my boy. Yeah. Misha's awesome. So yeah. And just other stuff. So
Yeah, of course.
that I don't know why I keep harping on Chevelle. I guess because that's one of our main influences for this band too, but it was like a gateway for
Cool.
for me.
I want to talk more about that. In the meantime, I want to hear about Joel.
Hey, I'm Joel Gilligan. I'm the guitar player, and I'm the singer in this band, the lead singer. But that's new for me as well. So we're all kind of, and James is singing in this project too. So it's kind of been, we've all kind of just stepped up to the microphone, if you will. So
James had his moment of glory.
yeah.
Yeah, in the set.
Sliver.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue.
Hey, I'm James Wright. I'm the drummer. I do sing a couple of lines here or there. It may increase, it may decrease as time goes on. We don't know. We'll see.
Proprietor of the biggest and most bodacious drum set ever on the Hum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
Proud proprietor.
trying to set records, you know.
We definitely achieved that, my friend. It sounded great. It all sounded great. So let's jump in. Tell me a little bit about the song choice, like the song choices that we had. Let's go through the set and tell me. Let's just start with number 1.
Yeah, so first song was "You Lost It All." That was our first single we came out with. We're kind of
when was this?
It was last July, 2021,
Okay.
and since then we put one more song out, and that was. Did we play that one second? I think so.
Don't
Yeah,
remember.
we did. Yeah, we
I
went.
don't
You
know.
Lost It All. I Need
Oh
You.
yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Crown of Thorns is going to be our next single. It'll definitely be out by the time this is out, and then we played a kind of another song off the album we're going to come out with called "All I Have," and we haven't decided when the album's coming out yet. But so that was
Gotcha.
kind of our play all the singles, and then also kind of a deep cut, as our buddy would say,
Deep cut, deep tracks.
the deep track.
No, that's funny. That's cool. So tell me about how you made the song selection. Are those songs that you've kind of had for a minute, or is it something? Was it newer music? Is there other music that you had to choose from in order to make the selection? Like, what was the choosing process? Because I know if you only have the band has 3 songs, to represent, it's got to be a little bit of a difficult choice.
We definitely wanted. So we kind of talked together, and we thought "You Lost It All" was our just come out of the gate song. And then "I Need You" is kind of, it's a little different. It's lighter, but it's a little more punky, I guess. And then "Crown of Thorns" is again with the low riffs and stuff. So that kind of covered the gambit as far as how the sounds are going to be on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And those kind of had the big choruses. And
And I think part of it too is that those were the most worked up songs as well.
That
'Cause
is
they're,
part of it,
They're like
too.
our early. There's a practicality to why we chose them too. So All I Have came on kind of the tail end, and we're still, working through these songs. So even Crown of Thorns has changed, and I Need You is a little different than what you're going to hear released. Just because
I like that.
we're still in it, but
Yeah.
we're still trying to write and be creative. But yeah, there's a practicality to it as well. To where these were the songs that were the earliest.
Personal
ones,
favorite
so.
was "Crown of Thorns." I have to say.
yeah,
That was a solid
Okay.
piece. Yeah, that's the one that'll definitely be on repeat for sure.
sweet.
We've
Yeah.
got like, I don't know, 7 to 10 songs that we have worked up that'll be for the album.
Mm-hmm.
And we went with "I Need You," "Crown of Thorns," "You Lost It All" because those are the singles.
Right.
And we want to push those out in the media the most. And they are the most worked up. And then we threw the 4th song in because it's kind of like you said, a deep cut or whatever. So that was our methodology behind choosing the music, was these are our singles, so this is what we want to market the most.
Cool. Yeah. So the 4th song is the B side. So that'll be, we may put it out there. I'm sure we'll be coordinating, but people may or may not have heard that one yet when they hear the podcast. Depends on when you guys choose to release it out into the world. But
Yeah.
Very good point.
yeah. So I want to rewind a little bit. Tell me, it's kind of been referenced, but tell me about the writing process. It seems like there may be some difference in approach and like towards the music from each of you, but it also comes together quite well. So let's talk about how those songs were constructed. You said they're the most worked up. Tell me when the band formed and like how the writing process started.
So originally, I've been a guitar player in bands for a long time, and I've always written songs. And I just took a stab at some vocal melodies on some old guitar riff songs that I was coming up with because I was considering doing like an instrumental thing, but I really want to just do the full on band thing, So James heard a couple. We were working on another project, and he just heard some of my other songs for this stuff, and he was like, "Dude, we gotta make a band out of this," So it kind of started with some songs that I had come up with, and over time, though, James has written his parts and had a lot of influence on the songs, and Dave has done the same with the harmonies. Has been a major difference in writing. Like David's vocal harmonies make the songs 2D to 3D, you know, so and different bass lines and stuff. So
It usually starts with Joel writing some kind of amazing guitar line, and then we all just kind of like add in from there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know, I gotta say it's Joel. Joel writes most everything on the guitar line, and then we add our parts to that.
Does
Yeah,
that complement what you were talking about earlier? You seem like you were more specifically trained in the world of music through like, you know, brass and things like that. I mean, does that affect and impact how you approach the music on your end?
I think it definitely does. Like, I think that foundation helps because it helps me like know what key things are in and what notes are going to work. Mostly it's by ear. So I grew up, you know, looking at a page, but also it like you're trained in the ear portion when you're actually performing. But then here we're taking an approach like that's almost exclusively by ear. So I have to just rely on that side of things. But yeah, I definitely say so. I'd say like to just echo what James was saying, Joel uses the terms like what you say, like I'm just so meat and potatoes, like because he writes the riff and like that's like the meat and potatoes of the song, and then like, you know, James will bring the drums and bring it up to like a specific groove or whatnot, and I'll try to like write some bass that follows for the most part, but I try to add a little bit of flair and something different in there too, and then the harmonies I guess would come after that. It's just whatever I hear in my head, because a lot of times I'll just be in the car listening to it, like he's written the vocal line, there's a guitar there might be drums or not, and my mind will just like pick out some harmony line and I'll just record it on a voice memo on my phone, like you know, like people do, and then I'll just kind of like work through it. And I have like my own setup at home with a laptop and a little Scarlett interface and whatnot, and so sometimes I'll get that in and I'll just track it, and we'll take over to Joel's house and then like sing it for real. So
Well, it has to be acknowledged. You guys have just a very powerful presence for a three-piece, and that's not just as a three-piece, but compared to any other full band sound. I mean, I think a lot of that comes from how tight you are. It's very cohesive. It's very well structured. Everyone knows what they're doing and how they're doing. We're talking about playing with click tracks and being consistent. But also,
wait, I thought that was the drummer. I thought James is just
no,
insanely
that's what I was
and
leading
it is
into.
true,
Is having a super stable foundation. You know, through James, like it all translates extremely well. And there's something magic, like you look at, I don't know if you guys know like My Epic or, you know, something like that. There's like these bands that are these three pieces. I think they've since grown into a bigger piece themselves, but they started off with three pieces, and they have them in Australia too. It's crazy, but there's just like these 3-piece bands that come out, and it's just like exactly what it needs to be. It's so whole. So there's like a special formula, and you guys have nailed it. I don't really know what it is or like how to define that other than what I'm saying, but surely you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, those are super kind words. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, you can say that it's kind, but it's just an objective analysis.
Oh, wow.
It just is what it is.
we have to brag on.
I appreciate that it's kind.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And I got to brag on James for a minute, because our first show, we had our whole click track set up and we were all proud of it and everything. And we did something wrong and it wasn't working. So guess who? Guess
the
who
human
kept,
click track.
Guess who kept us, like, James can keep the song going live, like, no matter what. So if something goes wrong, James is the kind of drummer you need in your band.
James, tell me about your background. And, you know, drummers always have, like, you know, they're a little bit different. They have a different road. Tell me about your journey musically.
My dad was a drummer, and so growing up, I mean, I'm pretty sure I had a pair of drumsticks in my hand when I was a baby. There are pictures of me like 2 years old with a headset on, drumsticks on a snare.
Are you deaf yet?
So I'm actually, I'm 90% in my right ear and 80% in my
It's
left
always
ear.
that's what I'm aiming for. I'm always looking at the percentages of how deaf the drummer is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I mean, I grew up playing all the older music, you know, 60s, 70s music. It's funny you talk about three pieces, because my favorite band in the whole world is Rush, and they are a three-piece powerhouse.
Yeah.
But I grew up with that kind of music and that kind of dynamic. Then I later joined the school band. We had a jazz band, so I played the drum set for them. And it was funny. My band director always made me first chair, and he loved me because he's like, dude, you can sight read the music the best I've ever seen. Little did he know, when whoever we bought the music from sent the arrangement folder in for all the different instruments, they would send a CD of their band playing that. And I would always steal the CD out of the packet and go home and play it on the drums to the CD until I got it perfect. And then it was just memorized. I didn't need music.
Oh, wow. That's slick.
That's awesome.
You just took full credit too. I hope.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me about, you guys coming together, you have different musical backgrounds. How are you? Actually, you know what? We skipped Joel.
We did.
I want to know more about your
Well,
background.
we saved the best for last.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Fair.
no.
Good save.
Yeah.
Good save.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I liked guitar riffs. It's always been where I've kind of been drawn to. So the bands I listened to kind of lined up with that.
When did you start playing? How old were you?
I think I was probably 8 when I started playing. I didn't really take it seriously though until I was about probably like 15 or so. I started really like learning songs, and man, that was probably when I heard Chevelle, I was just like, what is that? So bands like that with big heavy riffs and stuff, and like Alter Bridge, obviously, and then 3 Days Grace, just that 2000s riffy kind of guitar stuff. But I really enjoy good, just big vocal melodies for choruses and stuff, and that's kind of been a bigger influence lately. So, but yeah, just the guitar. I've just loved the guitar ever since I was a kid. We used to play this. There was this little game my mom had that she made us do, and it was called Music Maestro Parade or something like that. And you had to. It was like bingo, right? And you had to. They would play an audio clip, and you'd have to say what instrument it was, and then put your square down or whatever. But every time the electric guitar came on, I was like, "What is that?" So
Always kind of drawn to it.
always just.
Did you
always loved
win?
it.
Did you win that game like most
every
of the time?
single time.
But was your dad ever playing that game? I feel like he would be pretty good with.
He may have played one time, but it was just me and my sister. Just
Yeah.
playing,
Okay.
so,
Yeah. Fair.
but
So coming together as musicians with different backgrounds and having made some music, do you feel like there's a particular message that you're trying to convey through your music, or is it music solely for the purpose of creation and sound and just being what it is, or are you actively trying to say something through your music? Specific or ambiguous, either or.
Well, I think a lot of our lyrics are very Christ oriented. Kind of just we're Christians in a band, and kind of a Christian band here. So a lot of the lyrics are like, some of them are prayers, some of them are just kind of looking at life through the Christian lens. And
That's a pretty broad spectrum of philosophy and understanding to draw from. How do you narrow down what you want to convey within that?
I think it's broad on purpose, just so that we're not so constrained to one lyrical topic, I guess.
Yeah, and that's good too in a way, because people can derive their own meaning, by listening to it, and every person might get something different out of it. But
Yeah.
that's like honestly kind of a skill in it and of itself lyrically.
It is,
I think.
and I'm trying to get better at not using I and me and you and lyrics so much, so that it's not just so like, I don't know, broader, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. So tell me about too the name 12 Spies. I know this has a story. He's looking around.
Yeah.
You want me to take this? You want to take
Yeah.
this?
Oh, shoot. You take it, man.
Okay.
Because you're the one that came up with the name.
Well, so I was, originally it was going to be a guitar riff project, like I said. And I kept asking my buddies, like, man, I need a band name. And they were like, one of my buddies was like, you should use Kadesh Barnea from the Bible. And I was just kind of reading around. It's in Numbers 13. I was kind of reading around the chapter and everything. So I was like, man, what about, I don't know if that rolls off the tongue right. What about Kadesh Spies? And so I was kind of, it's okay. And I was like, what about the 12 Spies? Is that taken? So I'm scouring the internet looking for the band called 12 Spies. I'm like, it doesn't exist, man. I've got to use it. So that's kind of where it came from.
So what's the full story within that? The 12 Spies, the story of 12 Spies.
So the 12 Spies, the Israelites were wandering in the wilderness and looking for the promised land. And they got to near the promised land finally, which was the land of Canaan. And they noticed there was giants in the land, and they were like scared of it. So
That's a reasonable thing to be afraid of.
yes,
And we have a song called Giants.
that's right.
Well, that's not confirmed, not released
not
yet.
confirmed,
but
not
yeah,
done yet.
yeah.
But yeah, so that they commissioned these 12 spies to go and investigate about the land. So they came back, and 2 of the spies were saying, God promised us this land. We should take it. And 10 of them were kind of hesitant. And they were like terrified of the giants. And I thought
I think they were even telling the people, "Oh, we can't take this. There's no way.
Yeah.
Even with it doesn't matter. There's giants there. We can't do it." Yeah. So just discouraging the people. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I felt like it kind of applied to the Christian life a little bit because, some days you feel like you're faithful to God. Some days you feel like a failure because we're sinners. We all need Christ, and I just thought it applied to the Christian life in general and the things that I would write about. So
Yeah, David, you seem like you're connected to the storytelling and like the meaning behind everything. How do you feel playing this music and telling those stories? How does it feel, just in general?
I really like how Joel has focused on like the human condition, and then how like Jesus is the answer to that with his lyrics. And I know you talk a lot about things that just happen to you in your life, and we can relate on a lot of that because he and I go pretty far back, and so I thoroughly support it. I mean, I know lyrically, like Joel doesn't have like really extended verses, and he's not saying like a lot necessarily, but what is said is like succinct and it's enough, if that makes sense. Like it's good, and like there's plenty there, if that makes sense. So I know like in Crown of Thorns, we were at band practice this week, and I told the guys, I was like, wait a second, is verse 1 exactly the same as verse 2? The same lyrics? And then they were like, well, yeah, it's the same thing. And I didn't really notice that because I only sing on the second half, but it just helped me realize, like even though that's reiteration, it's like, well, what Joel was trying to say in the song was that, like,
Yeah, there's
lyrically,
beauty in
and it's
repetition anyway, but
Yeah.
I mean, lyrically sometimes too. Maybe that's not the most conventional format for repetition, but that's awesome that it makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like that's really different too. Joel was kind of like, there again, us being a little bit hypercritical and stuff, but he's just like, I don't know, I might need to add more stuff to it, and maybe this is too simple. And we're just like, James and I are just encouraging him. We're like, no, man, if that's what you need to say, that's like what you need to say, and that's plenty, And I think that's very different from a lot of bands, because you can look at, like, we mentioned Alter Bridge, but like I've pulled up their lyrics before, and it's like this massive thing on Google Lyrics or whatnot, and I'm like, and you read through it, and it's like, dang, there's a lot of meaning behind these things, but and then Joel has like our lyrics up on our Google Drive, like to our songs. They're gonna get to our website at some point. I don't know when, but
Work in progress.
but but like, and it's short,
Yeah.
But that's good because that's digestible, Like I think, like for me, I'm not usually, when I listen to bands, I'm not the most like lyrically focused person. I'm getting to be that way now, and trying to limit like what I'm consuming musically based on that. And so I think like with his being shorter like that, it can really like have an impactful message that's just delivered in a very concise fashion that's different. I like it.
Yeah, there's every once in a while there's a band, because even with my background as in vocals and singing, I never really heard most lyrics. It's like almost like it was just another instrument in a way. Like when I was listening, I love music, but I was never just sitting down and really like perceiving the lyrics. But every once in a while there would be a band like Thrice or Me Without You or something that would just come down and lay lyrical bombs that were just like undeniably, like you just had to pay attention to it lyrically. So, and a lot of that stuff was not necessarily, some of it was and wasn't, but a lot of it wasn't extensive, and a lot of words, there's beauty and simplicity too, especially when delivering a message. I mean, what, Beatles changed the world with 4 chords?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily about the length of your lyrics or anything like that, but more of like the content and what you're trying to express. But that's an interesting. Do you feel like the I guess Christian motivations within your lyrics and your music, do you feel like that has impacted your music as a whole in any other way, like besides just the musical content itself, just in terms of how you've connected to the music scene or just other people in general? Do you feel like that opens up conversations in a way that maybe it doesn't normally, like just any other broader impacts?
Yeah, I think it does. I think that, and James can attest to this too. We're kind of clean on stage. We don't, we're not cussing at people off. And I think that
I'm
it's
surprised by
different.
that.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I am too. No, I'm just joking.
Mainly just James. He's the only one that surprises me.
But no,
All love.
it's a different vibe, like, and it has opened up some conversations along the way. It's been good, and it's kind of just I don't know, just a very positive kind of vibe to it that I think people kind of enjoy so far from the feedback we've gotten. So
Cool. Tell me about the practical end of like the conception of the band, like when you guys were actually talking about coming together and made agreements and like met, and I guess you knew each other. James came in. How did it all like actually come together?
All right. So
All right, here we go.
This is yeah.
here's the real rundown. Okay. No, so we had a previous project that I had answered an ad on. I believe it was on Facebook or Craigslist or something. And it was Joel and David and another guitar player. And so I show up with a singer friend of mine to try out or audition for this project. And, it went fairly well. But then it was probably a few weeks in, and we all decided that it just wasn't a good fit for everybody. There were multiple reasons, and it wasn't anything in specific. And a lot of people didn't have time at the moment for this project.
Which
And
is fair,
Right.
Gotta have your life.
We went our separate ways. But me and Joel had kind of become friends in that interim. And Joel was over at my house one day, and I think we're jamming or practicing or something like that. And that's when he told me about 12 Spies, and he showed me he had a SoundCloud of 12 Spies music. And so we go on the internet, and we're listening to this music. And I'm like, wow, this is rough, but it's like really good. I can tell there's a lot here. And I want to exploit that in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I proposed to Joel. I was like, dude, we should develop this. We should make it great. And so me and him kind of worked on some things for a little bit. And then we reached out to David, and we're like, David, do you want to do this with us? And he's like, man, for sure. That was really the development of the band. And so we took it from there. And then we all just kind of sat around and
When was this?
developed our parts. This would have been December or January of 2020.
2020 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, I mean, it's been very differing opinions or experiences rather. How was the pandemic for music and creativity? Because some people it was an opportunity, it was very inspiring, and other people it was just like a complete drought. How was it?
I think for Joel and David both, like it was probably a good thing for their creativity to be able to write. For me, it was absolutely insufferable because I want to play shows. I want to play live. I like an audience, and there was not any of that.
Got that drummer energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah,
and
he's
I
the
know
most
they wanted-
energetic one in the group. If you couldn't tell, he
Oh, yeah.
actually is.
and
He's
I know
being
they
mellow
wanted
right
to-
now.
They wanted to play live too, no doubt. Like
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah,
they
for
have
sure.
that passion, but they just really boosted their creativity like during that time to put out material.
They strike me as slightly more introverted than yourself, only slightly.
I'm pretty introverted.
I'm actually extroverted, but
Really?
I'm just not. I'm just very chill, like kind of
A
calm.
chill extrovert.
Yeah,
So
if that even exists.
David's the guy that like he doesn't watch TV or anything. He just like goes out and hangs out with people all the time.
Yeah.
Good for you,
24/7.
man. I envy that.
And then me and Joel, we're the gamer nerds. We like to sit behind a computer screen.
I'm on that side of the fence.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that though. So tell me about, since the conception of the band, what have you done, in the studio? What have you done? I know you've done some music videos. Like what all have you actually been a part in creating? Because it's been 2 years now, right? So what have you made?
Yeah, so far, well, we've got a little home studio, and we record everything ourselves, audio wise, and we definitely look to other professionals for the videos because there's so many, like yourself and so many other companies around town that are just amazing at it. So definitely using those resources, and but yeah, we've got we have so many song ideas, we really do, and it's some of it's like older, so it's just building on the craft for years and years and years, and but we've got 2 songs out. We got one more coming out pretty soon.
Where can we find all of this music?
It's everywhere, man. We have a website, 12spiesmusic.com, and all the
Streaming
music,
platforms?
Yes, it's going to be on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on Deezer. It's on
iTunes.
iTunes, yeah,
it's
iTunes,
on
yeah.
whatever else. So
It's supposed to be on Pandora, but it's not loaded yet. It's submitted, but Pandora likes to take their sweet, sweet time.
yeah,
I learned that with the podcast. We were on there. Yeah, it's interesting. But I want to dig a little deeper with you, Joel, as the primary songwriter. Tell me about your writing process. Like, what's a day in the life of the primary songwriter of 12 Spies?
a day in the life is I've got a riff that I really like,
And how'd you come up with the riff? Did you sit down and just play on your guitar, play around, or did you have it in your head?
No, sometimes I don't think it's maybe been a couple times here and there where I just kind of started humming a riff and I was just like, man, I got to go record that real quick. But a lot of times I just pick up the guitar and it's like, man, there's a cool new tuning or there's a cool new pedal or something. It's just, I don't know. It's very organic. You pick up your guitar and you're like, man, that sounds kind of cool. I should record that,
Mm-hmm.
So just
One thing leads to another.
yeah. And then eventually I'm kind of like, man, you could hum a melody over that. Lately, that's been the the thing. It's like, oh man, that could support a melody. So
Do you actually you have the riffs? Do you create the structure and the pieces that tie it all together, or do you kind of rely on them for that piece, or do you really create the structure majority yourself?
So this is where I want to brag on David a lot and James. I'm real meat and potatoes because I'll have a riff, a melody, some chord progressions or whatever, and it's very, very concise. And but David and James are really helpful with kind of the production side. Like, oh man, we should add a stop there. We should make this part sound like it's underwater or in a radio or something, or we should add an outro here or something. So. And David's got a really good ear about
The ear
taking
candy.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes from just jamming, we'll get together in a room and we'll be playing and practicing. We're like, we should change this or, so it's definitely a team effort.
Nice. What do you see as the future ambitions of 12 Spies? Like, what would be the goal? If you could do anything with your music, you had an open road, you could make the selection. What direction would it be? And how far would you go?
You mean song-wise or like?
All of the above. I think I meant more as a band as a whole, but with musically too. If you have a vision musically, what would that look like? I mean, if you see an evolution, but yeah, as a band too. I mean, there's a lot of potential out there for what you could do.
Yeah, I think song-wise, just get better at it. Just show growth with every new song and
an album by the end of the year, right?
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It should happen.
I'm putting it to you.
No,
should happen.
That's the plan. I mean, but also just we want to play live shows. So book us, we'll show up.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Have you been playing anywhere already?
Yeah, we've been playing Growlers quite a bit.
Cool.
Memphis-
Shout out
Memphis plays.
to Mark.
Yeah, Mark's been really cool to us. We really appreciate you, Mark.
He comes up every podcast, I swear.
Does he really?
Yeah, I've known him since he was like 14.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I went back when he had Diamond Heart booking, and now he's doing great things for Memphis music through Growlers.
It
It's
really
really cool
is.
what they're doing up there.
Yeah, and I've noticed like they're redoing some of the areas in the place, and it's just every time I go in there, it looks better, So
Yeah, they're constantly improving it. He's been on the podcast.
has
Yeah,
he really?
yeah. Mark and Tony. Tony Westmoreland is one of the owners in the Tandem Restaurant Partners that owns Growlers and North Carolina Watershed and Hernandez Highway. We actually just did one with Tony and Flipside, the pinball bar. So I did
I saw
another
part of
one
that
with Tony. Yeah, it was really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out Flipside. You got to check it out.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, Mark was on the podcast. But that whole podcast was kind of revolving around what Growlers was doing for the Memphis music scene by giving people A, a stage, B, a chance to make some money, and C, like a trustworthy way of kind of handling it and going through it. So it's nice to see.
I can definitely see why they were on this because you guys share a similar
Very
kind
much
of,
so.
Yeah.
It's also
Vision.
not a coincidence, I suppose, that Mark and I have known each other for so long because
Yeah.
back when I was playing metal back in the day, he was in it. He was in it. Won't Look Back booking all of them. He was heavily affiliated with them and got so inspired and started Diamond Heart, and now he's just doing it. We're all adults now, but he's doing it on a bigger scale. So it's really cool to see, and that people are enjoying it.
Definitely.
And
Oh,
the
yeah.
opportunity.
For sure.
So, for me, to answer your question of where I see the band going or what I want to see, growing up as a young man, I spent a lot of time in my room listening to music, and music molded my life and helped me through tough times. And what I would like to see for 12 Spies would be able to put out albums that can become somewhat popular. I'm not looking to be the next Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, Chainsmokers, whatever you want to, insert popular band here. What I want to do is create like almost like an underground movement of people that like love our music and follow us, almost like a periphery type vibe, if you will.
Bulb was like underground for like 7 years, dude,
Right.
before anyone even actually knew.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then, like go on a tour that we've got a small tour lined up in Texas.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
But we want to go on like a lot bigger scale,
Yeah.
like a countrywide or even a worldwide tour at some point, and spread our message and our word out there. And then it doesn't even, what I love about our music is it doesn't even have to be that we broadcast the Christian part of it. A lot of people just love our music because it speaks to them, and they like it. There's like a passion in that music. And to go back on what David was saying about Crown of Thorns, how it's the same verse, first and second, there's a passion there. There's a feeling that you get when you hear and play that song that you don't even know it's the same words, because the song speaks of passion. And that's what I love about our music.
Wow.
And I want other people to experience that. So I want to push our music out into the world so that other people have the opportunity to listen to our music. And hopefully we can make a change in their lives for the positive.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Very
that's
well said.
that is very well said.
spoken.
It brings something to mind that, I think sometimes in our modern world, if we're not conveying something or getting the attention of more than one person, it feels like a failure, or even if it's just one person, it feels like, oh, that's not good enough. But the reality, I think, at least it's very subjective, of course, but I think artistically and creatively, if you have the ability to impact and just leave something with one person on the earth, and you as one person have the opportunity to do that, that makes it all worth it, makes it all valid, makes it all whole, makes it complete. And don't worry, you've already impacted more than one person. But, point being that I think you're already, well traversing down that path to be able to create something like that. And I do think that the nature of the music that you're making also kind of lends itself to that underground vibe, which I think is awesome. It's not chain smokers.
Right.
Yeah, why did you throw that out there, James? I wonder why.
I get the
Was
point.
that a side project or
It
something?
could be a side project I'm doing. I don't know.
Yeah. So I saw that you're doing something on the side, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is that it? Just yes, sir? That's it? No more details?
So I've got a side project. It's actually called Emo Town. We have 2 songs out on all platforms, Spotify and all that. And then I have another side project that I'm doing. It's just James Wright, kind of like Anoop Sastry, if you will, or Luke Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm anywhere near that level. And what I'm doing
Sounds
is
great, though.
kind of like instrumental things. And then I'm also doing covers, but in the style of gent or progressive rock. So one of the songs that I'm doing is Closer by the Chainsmokers. But I'm taking that song.
Ashamedly, I love that song.
Yeah,
What can I say?
And I'm ripping it into the style of gent. And I've got some singers that I'm working with on that project because I can't carry a tune in a bucket. But I've got some really great singers that are going to help me out on that project. And so you should see that music out in the next few months.
That's very cool. Very cool. So how do you guys sustain 12 Spies with your normal life? Because it is a balance, I know.
Man, it's just
Wait, you mean there's things outside of 12 Spies?
Yeah, I mean, we all have to live our lives, right? In addition to being creative and making music.
Yeah, I mean, we all work for a living. Like we're not getting our main source of income from music necessarily. Music is more of like a money sink, if you could but yeah, all of us work professional jobs outside of that. Actually, Joel and I work at the same company and all that. We're both engineers there. James also works in town, but yeah, we just work music into our schedule, like to meet up together. We try to do a consistent Thursday night kind of band session, whether that's practice or that's jamming or working on like a music video or anything business kind of stuff. I mean, we'll just try to get together at least once a week. I know like for like coming up with new music and creating and writing and arranging and stuff, sometimes I'll work with Joel just separately if we get like some free time on the weekend. Like, like last weekend on Saturday we had some time, both of us, and so we'll just kind of work together. And I know he and James do the same kind of thing, or we'll have like one-offs here and there, but generally we try to keep that consistent. Like once a week, we're going to get together and like just hang out at the very least, and so just keep that going. Because all of us are really busy. James has side projects, and Joel has a lot of stuff going on too, and I do as well. So we just try to make sure that we at least have like one day where we can all get together and work. So
That's awesome. So you got your flow.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got your flow worked out. Well, that's cool. So, gosh, how do you think? Memphis music, I love it because it's such a broad scene. Like there's such a, and I love that about the Hum too, is just, it shows the dichotomy that exists within the scene. I mean, how do you feel in this vein of music? How do you feel Memphis, if any, has had influence on what you're doing? Just the scene, just the venues, just the people, everything that makes it up. Because where you play music has it's a very different experience. Memphis is kind of a unique oasis of music. So I have to ask, like in your vein, how does it impact? How does it influence? Or has it?
I don't know that it's influenced the writing process at all or anything like that, but definitely Memphis is an eclectic place. It really is. You can find any style of music here, and a lot of the people we've mentioned like Mark and shout out to Taylor, a guy that books around town as well, and he puts a lot of different acts on and has a showcase, and it's really cool. Like the local scene kind of comes together quite a bit, and it's a cool place to be for sure.
Yeah, I feel like people are receptive to it.
Yeah, honestly, we got a couple buddies that always come out. Shout out to our buddy Hunter. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And people come out and support. And we had a guy singing back one of our songs, and I was like, somebody's singing back our song. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but he's moved to Nashville, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But anytime he's
wow.
back in town, he's like, "Hey, you guys have a show or
Yeah.
anything?" And he wants us to come play Nashville. So that's the plan. And so I'm definitely hitting him up.
Yeah, I was going to say, when are you going?
What?
When are you going to Nashville?
Maybe this summer. I don't know.
I don't know.
Cool.
They can book us. We'll be there.
So speaking of, how will people, if they do want to get in touch with you, to book you, if they want to be in contact in any way, shape, or form, what's the best way? What's the best avenue to get to you?
An easy one is just go to the website. There's a contact page. You can hit us up individually. Just anyway, we're pretty down to earth. You just talk with us.
12spiesmusic.com contact page. There's an email link.
Cool. Well, tell me about, and just you're gonna have to flatter me just a little bit. Sorry, but tell me how it was working with Station 8. Coming in for the set, we had some awesome drinks, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a good night of recording. How was the experience? Did you enjoy the Hum?
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
We thought you were just the most professional people we've ever dealt with.
Oh wow, man, that's
and
awesome.
Like you had everything organized. Everything's
Hopefully a good time too.
It was a lot of
It's really
fun.
it
easy
was
to
great,
focus
yeah.
on structure and not have a good time.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was like very organized, very well put together. And I know it's going to sound great because I've heard the other hums. So audio quality is amazing, video quality is amazing, and it was fun too because we
And
were
the
just
lemon
kinda hanging
drops.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Long Island teas,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
old
yeah.
fashions. It was cool. That was a cool
You're an
one.
amazing mixologist.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. That's cool.
Best old fashioned I've ever had.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, that
High
was some
accolade.
good
Yes.
stuff.
It was good.
I'm not the best with all that, but I was like, dang, this is good.
Hey, you had one.
Yeah, I did, and I tried some of their drinks too. But I was gonna say, like, I think like on top of just the quality of production, I mean, you guys are quality individuals too, and that comes
Oh,
through.
thanks,
like,
man.
Yep.
not just the professionalism struck me, but just how authentic and real you guys are. Like, you were just like, I think when we had one of the creative sessions, you're just like, hey, we're gonna go bike riding later. Like, do you want to come with us or something like that? And that's just like,
Yeah.
like that, like relationship building's huge. Like for me, like James was saying, like I spend a lot of time on that kind of stuff in my life, and I know that's huge. That's important. And a lot of people, like you ask about like COVID and how that impacted folks, and I think people are ready to just mingle again and I guess learn how to do that again. There's a lot of things I can talk about there with respect to our generation and all the social media stuff, but I mean that speaks volumes about you guys, and you guys just put at least me, and I think the other guys too, at ease, just because it's not like you were like just stick up the butt, like, okay, this is the time we're doing this, and just making
Yeah.
us feel really pressured. Like you guys are just like, oh, just really chill. Like even when we were just trying to do our little segment up there and talk, because I was super nervous about that, almost more so than the performance. And you guys were just like, no, you guys, you got it. Like it's, that sounded great, and just the encouragement, like those words of affirmation just like really help.
That's great to hear. It's definitely, it can be high pressure to just like walk in and all of a sudden have like 3 cameras in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta have to like promote a comfortable environment, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you don't have to, but you should.
And if you know the cameraman behind the camera, like you guys, like we got to know you guys well enough to where like I feel a whole lot more at ease when I do know the people in the room versus just some people that are like, this is my job and it is to film you, and this is my job, it is to record you, and that's all I am. And it's like, no, you guys are like human beings, and you were able to connect still, which I think was great.
The biggest takeaway for me was our very first meeting. We're sitting at the table and you're going over everything and you're laying everything out, the expectations, and we've got a contract presented in front of us, and I'm looking at Joel and I'm looking at David and they're looking at me, and we're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah.
Like, we're all like, okay, what are the thousands of dollars that we're about to see on this page? And then for you to come out and be so generous as to volunteer your time in your studio to do this, to promote the Memphis music, to promote everybody. That was my biggest takeaway, was like, holy cow, these guys are amazing. To do what they're doing, to be so generous with their time and their resources for somebody like us, like, completely grateful, completely blown away, forever in your debt.
Well, wow, that's a powerful statement. I guess I asked for it, didn't I? Jeez. Well, I have to say, part of the experience and it feeling that way, a bigger part even, was really you guys, coming in and being able to bring that type of energy into the space and just create such a comfortable environment. As much as we can put all of that together and into it, it takes a reciprocal effort and a desire to make it good and make it whole from the other end. And you guys brought that in spades. So that was appreciated just on the professional end, but on the, I guess, on the intentional and philosophical end, that is the biggest piece. Like, let's be honest, a lot of musicians, this is their side hustle. People aren't making millions of dollars yet, but there's still a lot of great music and a lot of great creativity that deserves its proper time in the spotlight and deserves a proper showcasing. And that is the idea of the Hum, is to give bands those opportunities, especially Memphis bands, that opportunity to come in and just be themselves, express themselves, not only through their music, but through the set and through the interviews and just everything that it is. It's really meant to just spotlight greatness, because there's a lot of it. You guys are a part of it. As much as Elvis was 1954, you guys are 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all a part of one greater and bigger picture. And we didn't build the studio or structure the business model to be emphatic about profiting off of music and art. Like, I mean, there's obviously facets of our business. Like, we record, we do all those things, sure, and that's great. But we try to offer affordable rates on those services, and we do something like the Hum, that is not, it's not anything that anyone pays for, in order to unite and bring people together under one roof and be able to give people that opportunity. I know when I was playing music, I would have killed for an opportunity to do something like that. And we all feel that way, Drew, Nick, and myself, we all wanted to see something like that. So it's nice to know that it's appreciated. So thank you for saying that. But it also is all about you guys too. It's all about the musicians. Like, we're lucky to work with some awesome businesses and some awesome organizations, and survive as a business and make what we need to make to survive and pay for the Hum and keep it going, because it does cost money, but it's totally worth it. It's 100% worthy of all of our investment, all of our time, and all of our energy. And it's for guys like you. It's for all the musicians in the city, all the people that we've worked with. So I definitely appreciate that acknowledgement.
Thank you.
But I feel like we could probably just keep going on all day, but we do have to end this at some point. But that being said, let's do one last shout out. Give the people listening, give them an opportunity to find you on social media. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can find your music. Let us know what you have coming up soon.
So you can find us on all streaming platforms, Spotify, YouTube, and everything else. And we got a single coming out in probably a month from.
We'll probably be out by
Yeah.
now.
It should be, yeah.
Probably be out by now?
I don't know when this is coming out, so
Yeah.
there should be another song out. So we'll have 3 songs on all platforms, and then we're thinking, summer-ish, late summer. Hopefully, we'll we'll put out an album. So
by the end of the year, safe to say.
that's a
Yes.
that's a target. There you go.
All right. Well, don't worry. When it comes out, we'll be promoting it all the same. So
David, what's our website?
Our website is 12spiesmusic.com.
12spiesmusic.com. Well,
check us
gentlemen, thank you once again for coming and being part of the Hum and sharing this lovely dialogue and giving us a little bit more insight into your creative process and where you've been musically. And I look forward to your future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you'd like to catch more of our content, you can check it out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Station 8 Productions, or you can visit our website at station8productions.com. Thanks.